Good morning. How's everyone doing today? I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to our day one of Tech Connect 2020, Bringing Technology Home. My name is Carmen Miranda, and I am the training and PR specialist here at Bridge MLS. Really excited to have you guys join us today. We have a great half-day plan with speakers and that are sharing their products, their best practices. So we have a great lineup today. I'm sure you've seen all the great social media posts that we've been doing and we're sharing all the news. We also have testimonials from different users, so we're excited to hear that. So just to begin, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping rules. Everyone will be muted during the event. However, we encourage everyone to use the chat bar. We will have one of my colleagues monitoring the chat and answering any questions as we go along, and anybody that we can't get to during the event, we will be responding to your questions at that time. And so who's ready to get this started? Bringing technology home. We're so excited to have you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to begin day one, I'd like to introduce our CEO of Bridge MLS, Divina Lara. She's going to be giving you the welcome greeting, and she's also going to announce the early bird registration winner. So hopefully we have a great amount of attendees. So good luck to the early bird registration, and we'll let Divina take it from here. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bridge MLS Tech Connect 2020. It's so nice to see you. Well, I'm seeing your names. I don't get to see your faces this morning, but that's okay. I know you're here. I see Todd. But welcome, everybody. This is a great opportunity to share with you some fabulous products. Here's from some incredible speakers today, some hot people that are doing some great things in the market using our wonderful MLS and incredible products that we have. You're going to hear some from some of our vendors. Actually, our first vendor today you're going to get to hear from is one of my favorite vendors in the industry. As a matter of fact, when I first saw Peter talk about his product, Box Brownie, I actually stalked him through many conferences trying to get him to sign with our MLS because I was so excited about his product. And Peter will tell you, I really did. I hunted him down through two conferences. Isn't that right, Peter?
You stalked me. Unbelievable.
I did. I stalked you. I still stalk you today. Little did I know that 2020 was going to bring this pandemic and how perfect your product was going to be, right?
Appreciate it, Divina. Appreciate it. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's awesome. And we're gonna turn it over to you here in a few minutes. But we do have a winner for today's oh my gosh, the girls told me what we're giving away, and of course, with my brain, I forgot. It's a Amazon Echo Dot, and the person who that won this, Michael, is going to, I guess, has already pulled that name. It was out of the first 100 people that register for Tech Connect. And Lynn will arrange for delivery. So I don't have the name. I don't know who it is. Do you know who it is, Peter? Nobody told me. I just showed
sounds
up
sounds like I'm the winner.
Okay, Peter, you're the winner.
Sounds like it's Heidi Abramson. Congratulations.
Heidi Abramson, congratulations. Oh my gosh. Is she online here? Do we have her? Can we unmute her?
Heidi is here. She has to unmute herself.
Let's go. Let's see. Heidi, can you unmute yourself? There she is. Let's see. Can we get her to unmute herself? And I see her hand is raised.
Hi.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi.
Oh,
Sorry.
congratulations. You are the winner of an Amazon Echo Dot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, congratulations. So we'll make sure it gets shipped out to you. And thank you for attending. Heidi is a long time participant in our MLS. She was past chair, I think she was past guru, everything with the MLS. So thank you, Heidi, for participating. And we're so glad you're here and a part of this. So we look forward to you being part of our day. So we're going to get started. I'm so glad to be here. You know, I'm so thankful for my amazing team. I have been without a computer. It completely crashed, dumped all my information up until last night. So thank gosh for my incredible tech team that got me up and going. Otherwise, I'd be on a cell phone doing this. But anyway, turning it over to you, Peter. Have fun and tell everybody about your fabulous product, Box Brownie.
I will. Thank you so much for the rousing introduction this morning, Divina. It's great to be here. It is. I'm actually in Australia right now, courtesy of the pandemic that we're going through. It's 2:15 a.m. tomorrow morning for you guys. I can't tell you who wins the horse races, but I'm delighted to be here just the same. For those of you who aren't aware, I'm with a company called Box Brownie, and I'll just share my screen with you so you get my presentation up in front of you. You should be seeing that now. Let me know if you can't, just drop it in the chat. By the way, if you're not familiar with Zoom now, you're probably behind the times, but regardless, there is a chat box. There's a Q&A that's there. Whilst I can't see the Q&A, I will answer any questions at the end of the conversation. If you want to drop something in the chat, I will see that as we go. But it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. We're delighted with our partnership with Bridge MLS. It's a partnership that's been going for about a year now. And basically what I'm here to do this morning is to bring you some education on the top 5 things that purchasers want to see. So I'm actually not here to talk about our product. If you want to know about our product, I can answer that afterwards, but you can go to boxbrownie.com. So boxbrownie.com. You can check out all our products and features there. There's prices, there's timeframes. You will hear a few of those as we go through today because it's related. But yeah, you go there at any time. Basically, it's a non-subscription. You just pay as you go. So I don't have any real big sell for you this morning. I am going to go over the top five things that purchasers want. So let me dig right in straight away. Amazingly, the National Association of Realtors has this excellent research division. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but in that research division, I'm just going to bring it up now. Part of the research that goes on is, where is it gone here? Part of the research that goes on is this particular slide here. Now, this is part of the National Association of Realtors home buyer and seller generational trends. They ask about 300,000 purchasers what it is that is of relevance to them as far as purchasing a house is concerned. And this is their answer. So you can see at the top there, you can see the age of the home buyer. Down the left-hand side, you can see what's relevant when they go to purchase a house. Now, down the left-hand side is in order of preference what purchasers want to actually see. So this is not what agents want to see. This is the list. It contains the data really that's relevant to you when you're selling a house. So what is it that a purchaser wants to see when they come to actually look for a property online? And in a nutshell, it are these 5 things here. So good imagery, copy with all essential detail, a floor plan, a 360-degree or virtual tour, and video footage. And there it is. You can see all the ones with the green arrows there. I have grouped to be copy with all essential details. So you got photos at the top, then you've got copy with essential details, floor plans, virtual tours, and videos. They are the 5 components that are really important. And we're going to go over those. So I'm going to go over one by one how you actually attain that, the things that you need to do to get there. So if you have a look at the start of the list, it's photos. So what would I do if I was going to maximize the photo return or get the best possible outcome from photos? I'd be sending out this pre-photography checklist. What is that? I hear you all ask down Zoom. It is this. This is a checklist that is free. It's a PDF that you can email out to anybody. Really simply, you would just send that out. You can find that, if you wish, at our blog, which I will drop in the chat. It's at www.boxbrownie.com/PDF, and it's one of the first things that you can download from that site. It's a free PDF that if the owners or the tenants follow it, it's going to be ready to actually shoot the property. The second thing is whether you're shooting yourself or you're using a professional, you would need to choose your camera. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that this morning because, our recommendation for you is that you use a professional photographer. But if you had to shoot yourself, you can certainly do that. You're going to want to capture the imagery as best you can. So if you are shooting yourself, spend time, make sure you have the whole room in the picture, hold the camera still, ensure the image is in focus. And if you're in any doubt, step back. So I'm growing a bit tired of people taking photos of the front door. That's not essential really to the sale until people actually get there. You're going to want to get the whole image in. But my recommendation would be to use a professional if you're there. If you are taking photos yourself, you can professionally edit them. We do this. This is $1.60 where we turn it from this to this. It's not about just replacing the sky and the grass, as you will see. Actually, that's an iPhone 6 picture. No one has an iPhone 6 anymore. It's more about returning the image to what the eye sees. So even when you hire a professional, it's really important to understand that your images are being edited professionally. You need to take responsibility for that editing that takes place. So all of these that you will see here have been edited in some way, shape, or format. Martha, I see you've asked, can you get a copy of the slides? I will make mine available. I'm not sure about the rest of the day. You're going to have to follow that up with the Bridge MLS peeps. You'll notice that this one here has a hand in it. It's actually blocking out the sun. This is a technique used for shooting into the sun. You can actually put your hand up and block out the sun. We're going to replace that sky anyway, and that's all part of the $1.60. As part of the photography, don't forget you've got really cool things like this Twilight Conversion. So a lot of people will use Twilight photography, and that's fine. If you're going to send a photographer out to site to do a Twilight photo or Twilight shoot, that's great. The stats on this are amazing. So whilst there's nothing wrong with this first image, the second image gets 4 times more clicks on your MLS. And this is only a $4 edit. So you can send in your daytime photo. We can convert it to Twilight for $4. Really not hard, not rocket science. There's something emotional about the second image that attaches to people. It's when they're coming home. It's when they're seeing their significant other. And here's one. This next photo is one that was sent in this week, taken by an owner. During the pandemic, there's a lot of owners that can't get out because of COVID. There's the Twilight Conversion for you. So that's a $4 edit. Then we've got item removal also attached to photos. So item removal is for the removal or the decluttering of anything that you can't get to. So in this instance, we're removing the kitchen clutter. That's an $8 edit. I don't know who eats that many eggs, and I don't want to be caught in the elevator with them or the lift, whatever you call it. But I would remove that from the image. Then you have, just clutter as usual that you can see there. There's obviously people, storing stuff. So get rid of that. The thing that we're most famous for or known for is our virtual staging, where we can put that into an apartment or take it out. That's $32 and it's a 48-hour edit. So you can either put that in, remove it if necessary. It's all in perspective. It's all looks absolutely like it's there. So yes, you can absolutely do that. These are all pay as you go. So just make sure with your photography that it's up to standard. So you're really going to want to pay attention to what's going on as part of that. The amazing thing on that list. So you've got photos first. The second thing that you have on that list is copy. I've skipped to the third. The third thing on that list is a floor plan. And just while I'm on that, here are the stats for America. 92% in Australia, 92% of all listings have a floor plan attached to it. In the UK, that's 83%. In the EU, that's 73%. In Thailand, it's 74%. Now, the stats on how many listings actually have a floor plan attached to it in the USA is only 5%. So only 5% of your listings have a floor plan. But if I go back to that list right at the start, it's actually requested by over 60% of your buyers. And it's the third most requested thing. So behind photos and copy is floor plans. Now, I hear you say, how do I do a floor plan? Well, don't put this one up online, but a lot of your owners will have a snapshot of a floor plan like this. You can take that snapshot and you can redraw it. That's a $24 edit. You can even draw it yourself. Here's one my 10-year-old did. It's not a big deal. Just draw it on a piece of paper. We can redraw that. Again, that's $24. You can even put it on the back of a McDonald's napkin. That's also okay. We redraw that. That's a $28 edit there for the 2D. So the difference in pricing just comes on the difference in floor plan. This is where I got to in my real estate career. So I can draw a house in about 5 minutes flat using a just grid paper. I would draw it using a thicker line or a thinner line, and then I would go and replace that. So no big deal. It's very, very simple. I would be getting stuck into this because your purchasers want to see it. So that's the third thing that I talk about. Finally, well, it's not finally, but the next thing that I want to move along to, so fourth on that list was a virtual tour. And what we learned during the, especially during the start of the pandemic where we were all on lockdown, is that the pandemic was, I suppose, very, 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 very hard to get people to properties. So 360-degree tours became, the go. We certainly had an explosion of them. We do them ourselves. In this instance, I'm really encouraging you to at least own a 360 camera and a monopod. I think it should be part of every agent's toolkit, even if all you're doing is taking a 360 and posting it to your social media. You can get the Ricoh Theta V, which is on screen there. That ranges from between $280 to $350. It's not a big expense. There's also, the monopod, which is a large part of it. They go for about $50. So you can get them all on Amazon. You just buy the monopod, you put the Ricoh Theta V on it, and you can take a photo and you've got a 360 virtual tour. Now, you can use your choice of 360 platform. We have it. We have a platform if you wish to use it. It's $16 a flat rate. So you can upload your images to us. We'll stitch them together. Again, that's no subscription. It's just pay as you go. Hey, Heidi, if you're listening at all, I'll get you to mute your microphone if that's possible, because I can hear you. Nothing sus. But yeah, look, so back to the 360 tour. One of the cool things about this 360 tour is that you can put furniture in or take furniture out if you want to. That's an additional cost. We can also edit the images so that you can see outside the window, which is super cool. So if you're looking for a way, to do 360-degree tours, this is part of it. Don't forget, our editing of 360-degree images looks something like this. So this is done with a company called Nodal View. You can see at the moment, this is actually an old camera. I'm going to click on the image enhancement so you can see what we can do to that to enhance the 360 tour. We can also put staging in. And in this instance, this is a commercial office. So, all of our products work for commercial spaces. In this instance, we've decked it out as an office just to show you what that space may look like. By the way, if you've got any questions or you're uncertain on anything, drop it into the chat. I'd love to hear from you. So that's our 360 staging. Now we move on to video. Now, a lot of people are afraid of video. I don't really understand why, especially now that we are at a stage where we've all been on Zoom, where I'm talking to a camera in Australia right now, which is chatting to you guys. So you really shouldn't be scared of getting your iPhone out and absolutely filming yourself. So that's in the very basic form. You can also obviously get professionals to come in and do that for you. But it's really simple these days to actually take a video walkthrough of a property. You can be talking to it. You don't even have to be in the video if you don't want. But the thing about a video is it gives people a sense of the flow of the home, very much like a floor plan would. So, one of the things I would say is actually Garrick Ann, who a lot of you may know, demonstrates very, very well what a 360-degree walkthrough will do. So Garrick has a 360 camera. He puts it on the end of a selfie stick, and he will walk through that house. I've muted him at the moment, but he's talking to us about what this burnt-out home in San Francisco can actually do, which room each is to be used for or could be used for. And that's me scrolling up and down. One of the reasons I like this is because this is, a form of virtual tour. If you ask Garrick, he sold this house 2 years ago. He was using this long before any pandemic period. There's nothing amazing about that, about the video as far as, quality is concerned. We're not setting any records. I'm sure Garrick wouldn't mind me saying there's nothing being edited. It's yet still professional. He's just talking you through that property. So again, another reason why I'm suggesting to you all to own a 360-degree camera is because you can take 4K video on most of them these days. You can upload that to YouTube, and that's actually free. That's not something that you have to pay for. You can share that link with anyone wherever they are in the world and demonstrate to them what that site actually does. So that's 360-degree tours. I'll move right along. The final thing that I was going to speak about was copy. So copy was number 2 on the list. One thing I would encourage you to understand is that purchasers actually want copy with all essential detail. Now, if we go back to that first list, and I'm just going to zip out of it for a second, this is what purchasers want here on this list. If you have a look at this list in detail, they don't just want a write-up of the property. They want detailed information about what the property actually is. They want information about what was recently sold, neighborhood information, pending sales, contract status, interactive maps, and information about upcoming open homes. They actually want you to provide as much detail as possible. Now, you don't have to do that in your listing. That's not something that you have to attach to everything, but it's certainly something that I would be putting as an information sheet or something about that property if you're not already doing it. That's the largest part of my presentation. I do actually believe Bridge MLS have rustled up a user of ours by the name of Wayne Cory. Is he online at the moment? Is Wayne around? Let me just see if he's in the list. I can't see him there. He was.
Wayne is here. Wayne is here.
Wayne,
Yeah.
do you want to raise your hand? Can we get him in line? Can we have a chat to him? Hi, Wayne. Unmute your microphone if you can. There we go. There we go. Good morning, Wayne. How are you? We've never met. Is that correct?
No, we've actually met before.
Have we? Oh, I'm wrong. I do get around a bit. Where did we meet?
CAR.
A CAR. There you go. Rightio. Well, good to be seeing you, albeit over Zoom. I'd rather be there in person, just quietly. But we're stuck with whatever we have now. Tell me, you're a user of Box Brownie. You've used us. How did this happen?
So, during COVID, it becomes difficult to get stagers out. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with all the fires we also had here in California, but it also darkened all our skies.
I'm from Australia. I know a little bit about your fires. We also have them in. Yeah.
So using the enhancement tool helped out greatly because it was really kind of dark during some of those times. Using the staging tool was awesome as well. And then the Twilight just kind of showed off. So here you can see there's no grass of this place that we had.
Yep.
And it kind of just looked, the house is kind of interesting in itself. It almost looks fake or virtual, even though it's not, but it just enhanced the grass because we couldn't get we didn't have time to water and get the thing going and everything. And look at the sky. So that helped out greatly.
Yeah. So that Twilight Conversion, as I was saying before, if you use that as your first shot, generally, well, I mean, it's not my statistics, that NAR statistics that tell us that second shot, even though there's nothing wrong with the first, in my opinion, the second shot gets you 4 times more clicks. And Wayne, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that we haven't taken the power lines out, which would have been misleading.
Right.
That's not something that we do. We leave them in by default. Talk me through this one. I'm actually a big fan of that piano that sits in there. Yes, it is.
Yeah, so that piano was sold with the property. The owner just did not want to get it out, and that was fine.
Does it work?
This is actually a huge room. So it became, we gave little instructions of what we wanted to look like, and your team just turned it around the next day. And we were so pleased with what we found. Now,
an interesting thing about this that I have, Kenny has put in the chat, Peter is an amazing piano player. Fun fact. He found that out in the Asian real estate conference, which is why I was attracted to the piano that you put in there. But back to the editing, how you actually send us through a photo, am I wrong, a reference file of the type of furniture that you want to put in. Is that correct?
Correct. So I found it easier. I mean, you can always type in what you want and you pick the style of the furniture you want, but we also uploaded a photo of basically saying, here's really the style that we really wanted to see.
Yeah,
and your team produced that almost exactly. It was kind of scary in some ways.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good point, because we only have 7 different styles up there, and we acknowledge up front that they aren't going to suit every property. There's no way we could have 140 and it would just slow down the whole process at the front. So you've circumvented that by getting something off Google. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, just an image that references the kind of furniture that you wanted. You supplied that, and then we duplicated that as best we could, which is, that I'm glad to hear that worked. This is the room from another angle. Is that correct?
Correct.
Same room, same furniture. If you note, I'm going to cycle back. Here's the other angle. Here's the secondary angle. And is this the same room again? No, different room.
Now, this is a totally different room. This room, it's much larger than the picture brings out. So this one was a little harder to do, actually, because the first time we had it done, it looked probably fine for your team to put it that way, but it was like, no, this is a ginormous room. So we'd go back and ask you to redo some of this just to make it look more realistic to size.
Yeah, and interestingly, how did you find that process? So there is a need something change button. I'm assuming you took advantage of that.
Yeah,
right?
It was easy. It was just tell them what you wanted to do, and they just did it, and we had no problem with it. So we only had to change one thing. The table you're looking at now is too small. We wanted to add a couple more chairs to it, make it longer, because this is really a ginormous room.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that fact. I'm the first to acknowledge that we don't always get it right, and the agent knows the room the best. So we have that need something change button, so you can change something that that you may see that is better for the room. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
No, you did an awesome job, you and your team, with everything. And it's like, you're right. The agent knows it better, and you need a little bit of input from us to do your job properly. And you did a flawless job on it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We do like to do it as hassle-free as possible. Like, we do like to do the editing so that you have, I guess, less time on the input. But, if the end result is what it is, then this is great. And this is a different house, correct?
This is a different house we staged, yes.
Yeah, so a simple bedroom. There's the entrance over there. And that's they're the only ones I've got. But I really appreciate you jumping on, Wayne, and giving us a shout out today. If I suppose you were in the area, so if anyone's got any questions about our service, you're now a glorified box brownie representative. You've been designated. So
thanks, Peter.
Thank you for jumping online. I'll answer some questions, Wayne. You have a great day. Enjoy the conference, whatever's left of it. Thank you. The final thing that I want to show you guys is how to sign up. So there's a free sign up button in the top right-hand corner, and I see there is a question there. I'll get back to that. Michelle Sudan, I can see you've asked a question. I'm going to come back to that. You can see the free sign up in the top right, and if you're I'm about to give you a coupon code, so if you want to take advantage of that, you want to take a photo of this screen. So if you haven't signed up before, sign up for free. This screen is where you enter your coupon code, which is part of our relationship with Bridge MLS, and that coupon code is this. It's simply those words down the bottom all put together. So Bridge MLS, you need to get the case sensitivity right. So it's capital B, capital MLS, but the rest of it is lowercase. Now, if you run into any dramas, any issues, there's 24-hour customer service. You can see the phone number at the top of the screen right there, and there's also chat at the bottom right. Finally, just to answer questions, if you've got any questions, by the way, fire them at me. I think we got a bit of time, but I might be corrected by my wonderful friends at Bridge MLS, Carmen or Lynn. I'm assuming you're in the background. Michelle has spoken to, has put in the chat. You mentioned something before during SIP, I'm not sure what that is. Ask your photographer about the setting to take photos, can highlight the outside. Yes. So Michelle, what you are talking about right there is this technique called bracketing. So one of the things I encourage people to do is to ask their photographers as to whether they bracket or not. I see too many images on the MLS that look like this, where you cannot see outside of the home. Can you see in this image how there's no view? The outside is shrouded. What this particular one does, or what a good photographer, a professional photographer should be taking brackets. So this is bracket 1, bracket 2, bracket 3, bracket 4, bracket 5. And now you guys will call this HDR when you merge it together. It's not exactly that, but part of our service for $1.60 is that we can put that together. Kathleen has asked average cost per listing. Kathleen, I can't give you that. It depends on the edit that you do. So our image enhancement is $1.60. Our Twilight Conversion is $4. Our virtual staging is $32. Now, coming back to Wayne, he staged, I think, three images. So that would have been $96 for those 3 images. So it's just a pay per list, if you want to call it that. So I hope I've answered all the questions. If there's any more, jump on. I'm just checking to see as to whether I need to go longer or not, or whether I've got a bit more time. Are you there, Lynn? Are you there, Carmen?
Oh, you're good. I think Dominic's going to come on in right now.
There we go. But can I just say before I head off, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Look, if you've got any questions, by the way, one of the things I did neglect to put up there is my contact details. So if for whatever reason you didn't like what I said today, it didn't make any sense to you, or there's something that you'd like a question on, feel free to hit me up. Here are my contact details. Take a snapshot of that, but suffice to say, the email address is peter@boxbrownie.com. Just hit me up when you are ready, and I'll answer any questions that you may not have thought of today. Hopefully you've all got a photo of that. If you just hold your iPhone up to that, it will do some awesome magic using the QR code. Dominic, I see you're online. Are you next up?
Yeah, so I'm going to be, we're going to transition here. Thank you so much, Peter. That was awesome.
Appreciate the applause.
A lot of fun. And all right, so now we are going to announce our first raffle winner of the day. Drum roll, and this is going to be for a gimbal for your phone. We have Michelle Dotson. Congratulations, you are our winner. So you'll be receiving a gimbal for your phone. You can attach it on there, kind of right in line here with Box Brownie. It's going to be a really nice way to go and take awesome photos of your listings. So we'll be in contact with you as far as shipping, and we'll get that to you ASAP.
That's great. Right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great to have you on. And so now we are going to transition over to a broker panel. And so today we're going to be talking about how technology has shaped the industry and the future of the MLS. So this panel is going to consist of Janine Hunt of BHG RE Reliance Partners, Vanessa Bergmark of Red Oak Realty, Herman Chan, he's a broker for Golden Gate Sotheby's, and the man, the myth, the legend, Todd Hodson. All right, guys, let's get started here.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody? Nice to see you guys.
Good. Good.
So
I don't have my back panel. Sorry.
That's all right. Your hair looks better than all the rest of ours, so we'll just leave it at that.
I don't know.
Hi, Herman. Hi, Janine. Hi, Vanessa. So this is my first time actually hosting or moderating a panel on Zoom. So, I think we all know each other, and I think the thing will be is just to try to not talk over each other if we can, and make sure that everyone has a chance to sort of to get a word in edgewise. I'm not sure exactly how long we have. I have not seen the schedule, but they'll cut us off when it's time, I'm sure. Do any of you guys have anything that you want to just throw in before we get started?
No.
Okay.
Do it.
All right. So we have some questions, and I don't know that we necessarily want to stick to the questions completely, but at least it will give us a little bit of a framework to work by. And my feeling about these panels is ask questions that will help us get information from our panelists that is valuable for us to hear and to see your perspective on things. So that's what we're looking for here. So the first question is, what technologies do you think have created the biggest change in the real estate industry, for good or bad, in the past few years? And why don't we start with Herman?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The biggest technology, I think by far, I don't know if this is considered technology, but the smartphone really ushered in everything else that we're talking about, apps, cloud, all that stuff. So really the smartphone did everything, and that just pretty much was the genesis for everything at this point. So yeah.
I would say that is definitely a fundamental innovation in technology that really changed things. I remember my first car phone, where it would the lights would blink and the horn would honk when I got a phone, a call, and it was $2 a minute or something to get a phone call. So certainly cell phones have changed things around a lot. How about Vanessa? What do you think?
I'm looking at it. I actually agree with Herman. If you look at it from a grand scheme, that's kind of the genesis. I think if we're looking at it from a real estate perspective, the one that really felt like a game changer was the ability to, I could say, the ability to DocuSign. Now, I guess DocuSign would be a brand, but Digital Ink, DocuSign, the ability to not have to go and drive in person, which changed faxing, it changed everything around forms. And I think that's been a real game changer, because it's freed up, from my perspective, freed up agents to simply transact almost wherever they are, and for clients to be able to transact and compete still if they're out of town. So I think that's the one that ushered in. I mean, there's a slew of them, but I quite love that one.
Email, but I don't know what to.
How about you, Janine?
Well, of course, phone and definitely DocuSign. But for me, the first thing that stands out is the ability to video anytime, anywhere, say whatever you want, whenever you want. Sometimes that's not good. But for the most part of the time, it's us being able to say who we are, find some sort of attraction to our public, to our people, to our social media, whoever we're trying to speak to or advertise to. I just think video is it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's next, frankly. What comes next? What comes after video? I think that's been a huge game changer for many people who are taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I think that those are all really good points. I remember the ability to digitize documents rather than fax, or I remember we used to drive all over town to pick up disclosure packages. And I'd have to go to your office to get this 100-page disclosure package, and this whole ability to have to scan items, use PDFs, and to be able to share documents online, as well as for the MLS, just all the photos and the additional information that's been available. So the internet, I think, also is a major technology, and the improvement in internet speeds has definitely been part of this as well. let's go to another topic. It's not so much a technology question, but I think it's a question that has really gotten a lot of attention and confusion, and it's around clear cooperation, which is the whole coming soon sharing of listings on the MLS, when you share, when you can market. The question is, do you feel that clear cooperation policy helps level the playing field amongst MLS subscribers or not, and why? And why don't we start with Janine?
I do. I mean, I think we needed to have some sort of leverage, especially for our smaller brokerages. The larger brokerages have the advantage. I'm from a larger brokerage. I can send something out to 500 people immediately, and that's really helpful for me. For our smaller brokerages and our boutique brokerages, it's just not fair. And for the single broker. So I'm frankly very, very happy it went through. Is it perfect? Not quite sure. We'll see. We'll see what direction it's going to take, but I'm personally pretty happy with it.
How about you, Vanessa? What are your thoughts?
I think, philosophically, I think that the intent for clear cooperation was a good one. And I think that there was, in a competitive market where there's high demand and it's a seller's market, it's what clear cooperation was born out of. If it had been a buyer's market, we would know that full exposure is the best way to go. So I think that, why clear cooperation happened. I understand its inception, and I understand why we were trying to level the playing field. As far as we don't have a lot of results. It was born in the time of COVID, and we were trying to figure out what to do with a PED and how to show property. So I think it's just starting to kind of rear what the problems are with it. And I think I'd probably disagree that I'm pleased with how it's turned out. I think that there's a lot of loopholes, a serious amount of flaws in the way, again, from the philosophy to the logistics of how it's rolling out. I feel that it's probably disadvantaged small brokerages. I think it's put a lot of pressure on them that if they don't have access to the off-market in-house listings that are being shown in the larger brokerages, then that puts both their ability to get a listing because they don't have that tool if they're just a smaller person brokerage, or actually compete with buyers, because there's a subset of the market, there's a subterranean market that is happening that if you're not at a larger brokerage, you may not be exposed to. So again, although I think the intent was good, I think it needs some scaffolding, and I think it needs some repair work done on the way it's rolling out at NAR. And I know that is a discussion. I think there's NAR meetings coming up, but I do believe that you've got to go and you have to have real-time perspective for each size brokerage to see how it's truly playing out.
Great point. Herman, what can you add?
2 hours? I mean, my God. Where do I even begin? I mean, I don't want this to dominate our talk here, but I don't agree with it at all. I think it was born out of good intentions. No, actually, that's not true. I think it was like people who are insecure trying to think, oh, why didn't I get my neighbor's listing? I know this person, it should be out there and I should find out what's going on. Well, you know what? The majority of the world actually does not have an MLS. The majority of the world, this is how real estate is sold. So the fact that we're like here talking about this as if it was a right, it's not, number one. Number two, this has actually been borne out for several years now, because it was discussed for many, many years, and it became law and under NAR, I think January 1st, and it wasn't enforced until I think May of this year, whatever. So that's in the middle of COVID. So I think honestly, we have bigger fish to fry at this point. No one's really going to talk about it too much because we've got other stuff going on right now, the world pandemic. So I think it's really kind of like by the wayside. But the whole like guise of leveling the field is such BS to me. It's like, oh, it's better for the consumer. Is it really better for the consumer? Like, is it really? Maybe it's better for you as an agent, I think, because frankly, if it was truly better for the consumer, let's take for example, what if I'm a owner and I have, it's like property rights. I don't want to. I should have a right to say how I market my property. If it's privately, publicly, to my sister who's a realtor, to anyone, why is that any other realtor's business? I should have a right to sell my house the way I want to sell it. as a property owner. We're in our little MLS world, realtor world, we're all talking about our perspective, but as an owner, I would feel like, wait, so if I want you, Todd, to sell my house privately, but I want you to tell your friend Janine about it, you technically can't without blasting it out there on the MLS or on Coming Soons. What if I'm a victim of stalking? What if I'm a victim you know, what if I'm, you know, someone, whatever. So, I mean, I think it actually puts the consumer in danger, honestly, takes away their rights, but that's just my little 2 cents. What do I know?
You're right. We could.
I do think one extra thing, Todd.
Around for all day. Yeah.
We could. Yeah. One other thing too. I do think it ruins collaboration between brokerages. I think it makes it be that it's just, you know, it has to just stay at Sotheby's or just stay at BHG or just stay at Red Oak. And there's so much collaboration between brokers that I might want to call Herman and say, hey, what have you got coming? Or this might be a fit for your client. And now that's a violation if that's done. So I really do think, and I hope that this is revisited, because 2 years from now I think it'll be negligent that we didn't revisit this policy at its inception. That's just my final word, and I'm ready to move on. But I
think we should move on. And you know, the next question is another one of these huge topics that isn't so much technology, and I think I'm going to skip it for now if we have time to get back to it, because I'd like to get some more about, you know, how you guys operate that can help folks to kind of understand your process. So one of the questions is like, sort of, with all the new technologies and things that get thrown at us, what is your process for choosing what new technologies you adopt for yourself or for your staff and agents to maximize productivity? I mean, and I think I'll just combine this with the second question, which is like, you know, people are resistant to change to some degree or another, right? And all of us. And how do you overcome this problem for yourself and encourage others around you to embrace these new technologies that you feel are going to be beneficial to them in your brokerage? Thanks. Someone jump in.
Well, I can tell you the way I like to go about it, because I'm the director of training. I'm a little different. I'm not a broker with our company. I have to take a look at the population and combine that with the environment. Try to understand what's really needed, because from all of our perspectives, there is 1,000 different moving parts and 1,000 different pieces of technology that we can choose. MLS and our bridge rather, and just throws a bunch of stuff at us. It's all great. We love it. Our company has a ton of tech, Sotheby's, Red Oak. We're all trying to do our best with technology, but at the end of the day, the agent gets really overwhelmed. And the most important thing is to find the technology of the day, of the moment even. Where are you at? What's your business model like? Who do you want to attract? Why? And what is the buying and selling environment with your potential clients or existing clients? So I think a lot has to go into that thought. Otherwise, it's information paralyzation, and very few people use their technology well. Start with one thing at a time and add on to the tool belt.
I think that's really good advice, not to try to make a 180-degree turn every time someone gives you a new piece of technology.
Shiny, especially with, oh, they're doing it that way, it's working for them, I'm going to go do that. Wait, I waited a week, nothing happened. Oh, they're doing that. It's really common, really common. We just need to make a plan, find the tech that works in the moment, move on.
Herman, how about you? Oh, Vanessa, go ahead.
And I'll just say quickly that, you know, I think that's one of the joys of being an independent, is that we get to choose our technology suite, and I'm grateful for that, because there's so many tools out there that are almost useless. It's even like my phone. I probably use 3 things on it, or my stove. I still don't even know how to convection cook. So there's when we look at it, I think one of the key things we do at Red Oak is we test it out on me, because if I can't follow it, and I don't have enough of a bandwidth, or it just seems like it doesn't make sense, then a lot of times we just kind of dump it. But a piece of it, a huge piece of it, I think, has to go with how you pair technology with the human being on the other side. Not just the person that's using it, not just the agent, but is there somebody to guide someone on the other end from a staff perspective, or a support perspective? So if everyone on the team doesn't know how to explain that technology and is fluid with it, then it's something that we reconsider rolling out, right? This year we've had to do, I mean, we had to, oh, someone's talking. This year we had to jump on technology really quickly because we were all in lockdown. So we figured out stuff amazingly fast, which was, I think, a kind of a boon in hindsight. But if it doesn't get paired up with some sort of like real live support that you can call and get a bit of a tutorial from, then I think that's when you run into overwhelm and problems. And you still do, even when you have that support. So I think there's really the suite and the best of, and we could probably we'll all say the same things. We love Disclosure.io. We love DocuSign. We love video. We like our texting, you know, starting to learn how to use Glide, but there's also little loopholes and problems with technology. But I mean, that's kind of where I see it, how we tend to roll it out. And as far as change, I mean, anyone that says they don't like change, that's like being like, I don't like to get rained on or have a bird poop on me. Like, no, of course, you know, no one thinks that's fun. But the truth is you have got to roll with change. If you don't, it's irrelevant and it just passes you by anyway. So I think we don't really hang on that concept for too long.
What was the question?
When you want to add in?
Question again.
It's just about how do you adapt to technology? How do you decide which technology? How do you help your team overcome their resistance?
Well, I'm an independent person. I don't have a team, and I don't own a broker, so it's just me. So
right.
I don't really care what other people are doing, and in fact, if they are not doing well with their technology, that helps me, honestly. But when it comes down to it, I'm 42 years old now. I'm getting middle-aged, girl. My age is drying up. And I'm seeing all the younger agents, like they're so digitally native. Like I'm straddling both worlds. And like, although I have this veneer, really, I'm like struggling in the back to try to figure things out. Like this whole TikTok thing I didn't jump on. I'm just not going to, I'm just too old. But I mean, maybe I'm sounding like that person from like 1999. I was like, I'm not gonna do email, I'm doing fax. You know, I'm always asking myself, like, when am I getting irrelevant? What am I adopting? So I kind of feel like I just want to do what is comfortable for me. And I also don't want to invest in something that is just going to be like gone overnight. Like, for example, contractually, everyone, there was such a big adoption for that. And then like, you know, who bought them up, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, like, you know, that's one example. Another example is all the Vine that happened, MySpace, all the stuff that you're like essentially front loading your entire business model to. But then the second it goes away, or Facebook changes the algorithm, pay for play, yada, 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 all that stuff, then you're like basically screwed. I mean, I'm really a proponent for tech, but it's as an ancillary strategy to your sphere. Your sphere is always, and it doesn't, we're talking, I know this is a tech conference, but like really at the base of everything is your personal Rolodex. I'm really old Rolodex.
Oh, no.
Your sphere is everything, and you use your tech to kind of like buttress it. Versus, I think what people are sold to, like, you know, vendors always are telling us, and other people are like, and no disrespect to Peter, by the way, I love Peter so much. We were on a cruise together in Mexico last year, but like, it really is just supposed to be a bonus to your personal networking experience, in my personal experience. Otherwise, you're going to end up overwhelmed, and you'll just be swept away the next time it gets canceled or bought up, and yada yada yada. So, anyways, maybe I'm old school.
Really great points from all of you guys. I mean, what I get is that, you know, stick with what works and then add things that are actually going to enhance your and don't get stuck in like one place. And you know, whether you stay in touch with your clients by a CRM or whether you have a Rolodex, the thing is to stay connected with the people that your client base and your sphere of influence, and you'll, you know, that's the key to success in this business. I'm a firm believer in that as well. Just quickly, is there any, like, you know, one technology that you feel that you are going to be investing more of your time and energy in coming up, in, you know, and then, you know, that's sort of new on the horizon that you're looking at?
For me, it's not so much tech, but it's just the culture in which we're living in right now is very in the moment and imperfect, messy, And I guess I'm from the era where I just want things to be a little bit more perfect and curated and pretty. And I'm not like comfortable doing Instagram lives and Facebook. I'm just not. I don't like the. I'm a perfectionist, so those things make me uncomfortable. So I know, especially under COVID and everything, it's kind of what people are looking for now. So I need to really embrace that and just make mistakes.
Right, be willing to make mistakes. I think all of us have been there recently. Janine, you were about ready to talk, but I think you were muted last time.
I was muted. Yeah, I like that 360 camera Peter brought out. I didn't even know those existed. I've been under a rock. So I think that's going to be my next investment, is that tripod and that camera, and see what kind of fun I can get into, or trouble, one of the two.
Yeah, everyone in our office got a gimbal. Like 3 of them know how to use it, I think.
Exactly. Yes, I'm only going to take on this technology if I can use it and learn it.
There's 50 gimbals in the company and 2 in use. Vanessa, how about you?
Yeah, I'm big on video, and I'm somewhere between. I get what you say, Herman. I'll never forget when we were doing our original meetings, and Simon Black was so kind, because he said to me, Vanessa, girl, you got to get a ring light. And he was the first one, like, here is where you order it, and here's what you do. And I felt my life got better after I got the ring light, because no one wants to sit there looking at their face and seeing themselves, like the circles, and it just is horrible. So as soon as you feel a little bit more comfortable, because you are talking at yourself, like if they could turn the video cameras off, I probably would have just been ignorance is bliss. But thank you for Simon for telling me to get these things. And then it was for all of us to say, video kind of is our way to share thoughts and feelings, and houses and neighborhoods. And so I'm really we're deep diving into video now. And what was one of the point around that? Oh, and I agree. I kind of still think that it should be curated and not as sloppy. There's a fine line between fixing it up and being authentic, but not having it look like the Blair Witch Project. So somewhere in between is good. But I think that's where we're gonna do a lot of deep diving this year.
Can I just add one thing, Todd?
Sure.
With all that, I really understand that there is a perfectionist in our midst, and there is somebody who really wants to do things perfectly and well, and I really appreciate that. But I think there is perfection gets in the way of progress. And especially since most of our population is really afraid to be on camera, and yet we know video gets more likes, more interactions, more SEO. Get out of your own way and just do something fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'll argue a little bit against perfection, because all our clients really want is to know a little bit about who we are and can they trust us. So let's have fun. I'm all about having fun, and I think there's a little bit of a path that you can clear for yourself. It's not necessarily perfect, but a little bit about yourself.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
After all this time, Herman, I cannot believe I'm hearing you say that. All right, so let's change it up a little bit. Let's say there's questions about big data with all the demographic and all that stuff, geographic tracking, trends, artificial intelligence, virtual reality. How much are these just shiny objects? Are they transformative for our industry? Which ones have you tried? Which ones have you discarded? Which ones do you think might have a future that past 2020? Vanessa.
I could just say, I think there's probably a place for all of them. I think they're so beta right now. I know when I'm acting with an AI bot, and it's really frustrating. I tried to do a salon appointment the other day. I almost dropped dead. They kept asking me the same thing over and over again. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me right now. Like, forget it. I'd rather not do my hair for another 3 years if I have to interact with a bot. So there's some of it that just feels really false. And I know it's trying and it's learning, but I don't have the patience to have it learn. I don't want to teach AI. Someone else can do that. I do think it's coming, and I think it's probably going to be important. I think there's aspects of it that will help. But right now, big data. I mean, security is my biggest concern. I know that's probably not the question, but I would segue into that is my biggest concern with all of this technology is there are ways that people will get online, get your information, or what they're doing with all that data, I don't necessarily know. And that's a little concerning. It's concerning, especially with us when we have a cybercrime breach with, our good faith money or through escrow and title. We recently had an issue where, offers became seen on disclosures, and we got to be careful, as we dive in, and as the boundaries around technology are somewhat loose. It's not that we shouldn't partake in any of this at all, but we have to do so carefully. And that's just one of my concerns. Again, not necessarily a question, but.
Yeah, I think it's very, very good. Herman, you're next.
Your mouth open. I mean, if you look at the latest Apple campaign, it says what? This is iPhone private. This is privacy or something like that. I mean, that's basically their whole tagline. So that just goes to show privacy, security, discretion, that this is like a new era, because I think for the past 10 years or so, it's all about sharing everything. We're helping the world. We're out there. No, actually, we were all this time exposing ourselves, putting our stuff online, and introducing vectors to our computers and yada yada yada. So really, I think there's going to be the next tech wave is going to be about security. So Vanessa, I think you're very wise about that. In terms of AI, well, AI really is a function of Wall Street, big money, big tech coming into our business, which is for the most part for the past 40 years kind of fairly local. Like even if you could have done your business fine, but now with everyone being online, I mean, homeless people have iPhones now, for heaven's sakes. I mean, like it's everywhere, and I really don't know what that means for us in terms of like, I think it's helpful that we can use, like from a corporate perspective, from a company perspective, there are companies out there that are just aggregating all this data. Like Zillow, for example, yes, the big Z, they know more about our shopping habits than we do ourselves. I mean, I don't like to admit that, but it's true. So what does that mean? And they're going into like the real estate brokerage vertical now. I mean, it really is kind of like a gateway to other things, I think. So right now we're talking about these small little, like Vanessa said, little beta things, but there's something bigger that's brewing. I mean, I really don't think we're going to be selling real estate the same way in 10 years. I just think there's some seismic shift that's happening underneath that we're not putting all the pieces together with. But that's just my little 6 cents. I don't know.
How about you, Janine?
All right, it's going to sound really ignorant, but I don't think a whole lot about it. You know what I think about it? When I say Google and my phone wakes up, that's when I start thinking about it. It's the good and the bad. You can't have one without the other. And I kind of learned that a long time ago when social media came out. Before then, when the internet was introduced, and before then, we were going to get cancer from our cell phones, or because they were the size of cars. I don't think about it, because if I do, it's not going to do a whole lot of good for me in my daily activity. I just have to be as smart as I possibly can be if I'm worried about data breaches and security. And I have to be as forward thinking as I can be to really take care of my agents and my clients, my friends, my family, everything else. So as far as all of that, I honestly, I'm going to sound a little ignorant. I don't think about it. I just think about what I got to do today and how best I can do it. And if AI can help me, awesome. And if it can't, well, I don't think. And that's kind of it. I am addicted. I'm addicted to being able to order something in 30 seconds and have it delivered in 2 days. I'm sorry, I'm a bad guy, but I love it. And then there's the flip side of that coin, where everything that Herman and Vanessa very rightfully brought up, but I call it the limousine window, man. I just roll that limousine window up if I don't like what somebody else is saying on the other side, and I just drive. So that's where I am with all of that. I'm nothing good to say about it. I mean, nothing helpful anyway.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was a manager on duty this weekend. I was talking to an agent on the phone and we were talking about a counteroffer situation, and we mentioned the name of the competing agent, the person that they were talking about. And the next thing I know, Facebook had that person up as a potential, friend. Like that agent was like, all of a sudden her picture was right there on my phone. It's like,
not going way.
Oh my God.
Right.
Is that
It's
just
not-
coincidence, or is it like
it's
they're
not.
just listening? I just could not believe it. It was from my phone call to Facebook.
It's insidious and it's not going away. So how do we make friends with it? How
Yeah. So, you know, like Real Scout, I mean, is one of those things where they'll, you want a view of the bay, and IA will search the photos for a view of the bay. I mean, I guess, and then it combines that with big data. So, I mean, that's, I think, probably the closest that I've seen it being a part affecting my client base and what some of the tools I'm using. Okay, so let's go back. One question that I think I need to, since this is MLS, Bridge MLS sponsored this, what technologies do you think our MLS should be investing their resources in to help their, to help our members? Janine.
Education, education, education.
Right.
I think the more education we can get out to our members about all the tech and tools we have in bite-sized chunks that we can revisit. Okay, I'm going to learn this part about the MLS and then I'm going to go to work. I'm going to learn this part about Connect MLS and then I'm going to go to work. I think that would be really, really helpful for our membership, because I don't know about you, but when we start getting our agents busy, or Herman, you're always busy, we don't have time for a 3-hour class. But we do want to get incrementally better at a piece of technology that comes our way. So that would be my biggest hope and prayer, is that we get more bite-sized education more frequently for more folks.
Mm-hmm. Herman, Vanessa.
This is kind of tech, but maybe not really tech. I think that a lot of agents really don't understand how the MLS works with regard to syndication, because on the consumer end, they don't even know what an MLS is. They know the word, but that just means, for them, MLS means Zillow, Redfin, you know, what they're, because they've got the $1 billion bucks to advertise SEO, you know. They don't care about IDX. They don't know what that is. And so I think a lot of agents really still do not understand what that means to syndicate, what you can and can't release out, what can be private, what can't be private, you know. And even in terms of the MLSs, and I'm not just Bridge MLS, I'm a part of many of them, but like I feel like the way that the data is input into the system isn't necessarily in tune with what's happening with people on the front, on the back end, or on the consumer end, which is us, the agents. Because I think a lot of, I would love to know the numbers, like how many people actually access the MLS the old school, the old way, meaning actually directly through the MLS, or do they access the data now through like more robust things like you know, Real Scout, RPR, My Theo. I mean, all the stuff is there. And so oftentimes I'll have agents who like, I'll ask for the packet, and those are like, oh, it's in the MLS link, and you know, depending on where you're accessing that link, so I always put stuff in my private remarks. That will always get syndicated out to you and within like approved sites, but like I don't think agents really know how all even the basic notion of what you're sticking in that field is not getting picked up anywhere. Like, you know, so I don't know, but.
Anything to add, Vanessa?
I think those are actually really great points. Both of them should be, you know, I think look into that. I think when I go on, I don't go onto the MLS very often. In my role, it doesn't require me. I deal with the ancillary issues around the MLS, but I'm not on it. And when I do go on it, it reminds me sometimes of going into like that, the junk drawer. And I hate to say that. And that's not against like Bridge or any particular MLS, but just from that, like, I'm always somewhat surprised of, you know, when you look in your junk drawer, you're like, wow, I put all these random things in here together. Like, how would I ever know that they were all in here? So I think what the issue is, it doesn't feel super clean and user-friendly. And I think as soon as something becomes complex and chaotic, we tend to say this is overwhelming, we don't use it. And then what it does is it drives you into using some other portal that is clean and kind of got that Apple feel of you click this button, you click this. So a refresh of the of the way it's shared, of the way you input data, of the way you pull data, of how you put your CMA together, of how you look at property values. And I think it feels a little bit cluttered. And again, full like transparency, I don't use it every day, but I think that's why I have this perspective. When I do go in there, I get deeply overwhelmed by so much stuff. And I think probably if there was somebody looking at that usability and you looking at how many of those things were in there, in the end, that junk drawer would be a lighter, pens, some, rubber bands. It would be eliminated down to what was absolutely necessary. And I think it needs like a deep clean out and just make it a little bit more simple and just high level tools that people would actually use.
Thank you, guys. That's really, really good. I don't know that it was mentioned, but next year I'm going to be the chair of the MLS committee and the board of directors. And so these types of comments are really good. And I think the training aspect of it and narrowing down the key resources that agents use, and Herman, what you said about, what is the adoption rate of certain things? And if there's little adoption rate, either we work to get higher adoption rate, or we kind of get rid of those things and then get things that people really will and can use. I think we get scattered. It's like the junk drawer concept is like, there's so much stuff there that no one knows kind of like, what do I use this one for versus that one?
We got a Marie Kondo, our MLS, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we really do, is like simplify and just use
Right.
what's necessary. That it's too much overwhelm.
Yeah, that's great. That really, really helpful. So I think, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but let's try to tackle this one at least briefly. And it's the whole equity, implicit bias, the sort of the issue. I mean, we just were issued a new form from CAR on both the RPA and on the listing agreement around, fair housing and, love letters and stuff like that. What are you doing? How do you see this our role as realtors in this social movement around equity, equality, and social justice? That's a big question, huh?
I'm like ending on a light note, Todd.
Yeah.
Herman, you were going to say something.
I have a lot to say again. I just don't get me started. Once I start, I can't stop. I think that it's kind of it's a distraction. All the press that was talked about, master bedroom, like read volumes and volumes, but really the problem is economic inequity, bifurcation of class, redlining, all that stuff. But you're talking about master versus owners, and which to me sounds the same thing, honestly. But I mean, again, it's a distraction. And also, I think it's a lot of posturing at this point. Oh, we're going to change. And I think it's important to acknowledge it, but it's just, I don't know. The whole thing about letters, for example, like, you don't think the seller is just irrespective of a letter or not. They're going to tell by the person's background, just by their name, number one. And number two, they Google the buyers, because it goes both ways, right? Because the buyers Google the sellers too, to kind of like find some type of like commonality. I mean, to our point earlier, and nothing is really private. Everything is out there anyways. I don't know. I think it's a kind of a little too little too late, but yeah. It sure looks good from the PR perspective. We're doing something. We're woke.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that a lot, Herman, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. We took an implicit bias training class, and it's just, but it is really an eye opener. When you start looking at some of the patterns that you follow, the pitfalls that we each fall into, and how we look at neighborhoods and schools and all that stuff. And I think that's where the cutting edge can be in terms of like introspective, looking at how each of us are relating to others. And it's a really hard one to like talk about and get your head around.
I I would jump in and say that I would agree the master bedroom conversation is probably a bit of a distraction. I do think, though, it was a start. The big question becomes, are we going to continue the conversation? People don't like messy conversations by nature. No one wants to discuss what their role is in this. And frankly, a lot of us are learning day by day what our role is. We weren't even aware of the part we played. And that is, as a broker owner, that is something that is very uncomfortable to hold, but absolutely necessary in our evolution as people. So it feels gross. It feels awful. It feels negligent. It's absolutely unequitable. I mean, you look around in our Bay Area housing and how much redlining there has been and continues to be. The love letters, I disagree. I've never liked love letters. I don't like them. I will go very open on and stand on that. I think that bringing up the conversation around who that buyer is and how they have turned a love letter into a resume about how much more qualified they are over anybody else, or how much, who their family is or why it matters. I understand that the seller wants to have someone who wants to enjoy the neighborhood and be a part of that. But this is exactly the conversation we're having. This is exactly the conversation we need to have, that it doesn't always need to look exactly the way the neighborhood is now. The point is we're trying to change things. So if you have this norm constantly be provided and handed into you saying, this is what the neighborhood's been like, and here's another person out of 6 to choose from that looks exactly like how it's always been, then that's not change. So I agree that this is, again, it's uncomfortable, but it is one of the most necessary conversations, and it's one I'm prepared to have. It's one I'm prepared to challenge people on. And I've had conversations with clients. I've had conversations with agents, but this is not a resume. This is not, I understand there's competition, but housing should be somewhat equalized if it's a term of an offer and it's a contract. As I've said, we don't have to do this when we're applying for cable or for Wi-Fi. Why do we have to send a love letter for a house? And part of that has become, I think the love letters have grown in demand because of technology, because we no longer sit down and say, here's some features about my family, and we're not meeting face to face, and we're sending over an offer, and we're doing whatever we can to get to the pile of that heap. And I understand that. All of that makes sense. But again, that has probably got to be the first thing that we change. And people are going to lose houses because of it, and maybe lose business because of it. But that's what change looks like. And so that's kind of my stance on it. I hope we all continue the conversation as a community. I hope that we can get upset or okay with the upset that will come around it, and we have it anyway.
I would say with regard to equity, I'm on a personal journey right now because obviously I'm not a person of color. I don't have the experiences. I don't have the familial experiences, and I don't have the stories. For me, it's all about learning, and I'm trying to learn the history of not just what we're all becoming quite aware of with regard to real estate, but just in general. And history is a big thing for me anyway. But I've never dove into this the way I'm doing now, and that I'm encouraging our agents to do. I'm reading, the new book everybody's got to read, The Color of Law. I'm almost done with it. We're going to have a book club around it so that we have real high-level agent conversation around it. I'm looking forward to learning more and staying humble around it. I don't have the answers. I just know that if we don't look within ourselves and learn from the past to make forge a better future for even just ourselves, like kind of keep our own lawn mode and then worry about everybody else. I don't have a lot of opinion around the love letter. I've certainly gotten into contract because of them. I've had clients accept offers, because of it. But I would go either way. I'm not gonna. Anybody who has any kind of specific knowledge of what's right or wrong around that, and I'd be very willing and happy to do either one. Most times now we don't encourage the love letter anyway, so it's whatever. But I agree with Vanessa. It's like you know, it's becoming kind of a standard that maybe isn't such a great standard. But that's, I don't know if that's really the answer to your questions, Todd, but I feel pretty humble when it comes to that question. I don't feel equipped to answer. I don't think I'm the person to answer something like that, basically. And I'm working on that.
I mean, we're all sort of leaders though. So there, I mean, we have to work on it, but we also have to sort of be in a position of leadership. And I know that you do that by example, Janine.
Yeah, I don't shit all over people. I don't shit on people at all. I really have pretty high standards about how I treat those around me and have expectations around how I get treated.
Yeah.
And for my clients too, and everything else. So.
Yeah, the book is The Color of Law, which is really quite an eye-opener. And it mentions a lot about the history of the Bay Area, Oakland and Richmond, as well as the rest of the country in terms of how law has shaped neighborhoods and real estate and wealth inequities. There's another really good podcast that is, it's called Nice White Parents, which is also really interesting around schools and in Brooklyn. So that if you're interested, that's another good one. Did we lose Janine? It looks like maybe we did. I don't know what happened to her. I think we're about ready to wrap up here. I guess the last question would be is, you know, what do you feel is shaping our industry right now? And what is your forecast for 2021 in terms of our local real estate industry?
You first, Vanessa.
Ladies first.
Well, then I'll go.
Okay, Herman, right back at you.
There we go. There we go.
So, I mean, I would not dare to say what is going to happen in 2021, because if there's anything I learned in 2020 was that I didn't see any of that coming. I think we are at a bit of a tipping point in just humanity right now. And it's not that, you know, we're going to go the way of the dinosaurs, but I think that there's a lot on the table. It's like once we started talking about things, everything opened up as a conversation piece. So as far as what's going to happen with our local, you know, with our local industry, I don't know. But what I will say, I want to give thanks to and have some real deep gratitude to is, and I think every one of us should hold this because it'll make us feel better about 2020, is back in the 2008 recession, real estate was the bastard. We were the problem. We were the one that started it all. And it was really, really tough to dig ourselves out of that reputational hole. Deservedly so. There was a lot that went down. There was a lot we didn't even know we were doing, and we created a massive recession. On the flip side, in 2020, we have been sort of the darling of the pandemic. And we have created this, this movement within the economy of people buying and selling and trading. And it's kept things somewhat fresh during a time of malaise and a bit of a sort of global depression around life right now. And this has been the bright spot in the economy. And I just, having been through both of those now, I'm showing my age, but that was when I kind of started in the biz. And hopefully this isn't the ending of the biz, but there are the bookshelves of these recessions and faulty economies, and we are on the good side of that in this pandemic. So I believe that if we could keep our collaboration locally and keep respecting the fact that we are still transacting during a pandemic, then we will hopefully remain an essential business, and we will be able to keep that economy flourishing, even if it's just our local economy. But I think that is something that all of us and all of the attendees and all of the broker owners and trainers and every one of us are responsible to do this professionally and carefully with health and well-being as a first and foremost, folks. Like, that's our focus, and then everything can come next. If we compromise the health and well-being of us being an essential business in 2021, then we will run into some massive issues. So we have an opportunity, I think, here to show up and keep things moving and humming along as best as possible. And then another piece is just going to be continued collaboration within our industry. We know it's a competitive industry, but the more we collaborate, the more we have each other's backs, the more we work together, we keep our industry and our local economy going. So I think I want to be just really, really mindful of that collaboration as we go into the next year.
Okay, we have just a couple minutes left. Janine, the question was, what do you feel is shaping the industry and what's your forecast for 2021? I realize that neither you or Herman could make that case in a minute, but any final thoughts? And I think Herman was ready to talk. So I think we lost you for a minute there, Janine. So
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Anyway, go ahead, Herman.
Oh, we're not economists. Irrespective of the pandemic, I don't predict things. I don't know why people ask us this question. We're not psychic. We're not God. Why I hate it when people ask us like what's gonna happen next year. So I mean, but I'm just advising myself and my clients and everyone else just to kind of do the best decision you can at this moment, because God knows what's gonna happen next. Locusts, Martians are gonna come apparently. So God knows what. But on a serious note, I think there's just gonna be more separation of class. We're talking about the economy being so well. I mean, the housing real estate market being so wonderful, but really I feel it's a little bit of a false statement, only because it's been buttressed artificially by the rates being kept very, very low, plus all the government assistance that have happening, and they've run out recently. And I think this next 6 months is going to be really interesting to see what will happen once we're buck naked, because we've been kind of buttressed kind of artificially for the past year or two, and especially more with this pandemic. I think it's the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poor. That's kind of what I feel. Because right now 30-40 million unemployed, but in the Bay Area, I mean, our clients are still transacting, buying, selling. I mean, in our world, it's kind of like business is normal, but it's because our demographic here is more affluent, more educated. So we're in a little bit of a privileged sector to be, I don't know. So I think locally we're going to be okay. But I don't know what will happen in the aggregate. But yeah.
Right. Janine, you get the
Crystal
final
ball,
word.
man. Don't we all want a crystal ball for our clients?
Or what's shaping the industry too? I mean, I guess is the other thing, what forces are shaping our industry?
Well, right now it's politics. Everybody's on hold for politics. As Herman says, don't get me started. But I don't have, Todd, I don't have an answer to that question. I really don't. I think if we're going to be realistic, I know what's happening today. I can tell you what your interest rate is going to be today. I can tell you what your home is worth today. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. Is this a long-term investment for you? Then do it. If it's not, then let's really take a moment to pause and think about your long-term investment and financial health. But when people ask us these questions, I don't know how to respond other than in the present and to project what we've been through before. Again, I'll go back to history. This is an ebb and a flow. It's just that the reason why we have ebbs, those reasons change, but the ebbs happen all the time. And then the flow happens again too. So I terrible answer to your question, but I think that's the reality. I mean, we can pretend we know, but we don't. If we ever didn't before, we definitely don't know now. In this particular time, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Just one thing though, you did bring up an industry thing, and I do think we got to keep one eye open on Zillow. Maybe not both, you guys, but one eye's got to be open.
You're right. You're absolutely
right. Everyone has been ignoring this for years. I've always sounded, and I'm not anti-Zillow because they're going to do what they're going to do. But if we think that as an industry, we'd just be like, oh, Zillow, like that's keep it out.
Well, that's where that SOI really comes into play, right, guys? I mean, keep that human-to-human touch with our sphere, with our people, and that way we're not replaceable.
I think
I see the hook.
Yeah, the hook just showed up.
I see the hook. There's Dominic. He's gonna yank us off stage. I really want to thank you guys so much. It's so great to see you, and it's also great to see that we have 71 participants, and including the panelists 59. Yeah, so thanks for everyone for coming. Hopefully this was interesting and informative for you guys, and see you around.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear it
for
our panelists. That was great. That was an awesome, interesting discussion. I think we all learned a little something, and we have a little more insight now. So that was really great. Thank you guys. And so
thank you, Dominic.
Absolutely. And so now we are going to hear from Michael Presnell from Realtor.com. So Michael, let's come on in and welcome.
Mute. Can we hear me?
Yes, we can.
No. Yeah, all right, awesome. I've got some feedback, which is not awesome, so I'm going to fix that here for a second. Appreciate you guys having me here with you. And there we go. Okay, now I can hear. Perfect. Hi. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Presnell. I'm one of the vice presidents of the industry relations team. I want to start off by thanking Divina and the MLS for allowing us to participate and be a part of your conference. Obviously, wish we could be in person like probably everybody else pre-COVID, but obviously this is the safest way for us to move forward. So I understand I have 10 to 15 minutes, so I'm going to try and use it as effectively as possible. Where do I start? So let's start with what's been going on at Realtor.com. So I myself personally, prior to a few months ago, we had some restructuring event that took place here. My previous life, I managed about 10 to 12 states that had MLSs and associations in it. And today I manage with one other, everything left of Wisconsin. So I have about 300 MLSs and about 600 associations that I am fortunate enough to work with. And really the point of the industry relations team is to be a conduit for any issues, if there's things changing, taking place from a data standpoint within the MLS, if there's needs, if there's speaking opportunities and sponsorship, that's where we come in. When I took the job, I explained it to my kids like I'm Batman, which they're like, you're really old, thanks for using that reference. But I'm Batman in that I am the first point of contact and the only point of contact for the MLS should you guys need anything. Same from an association perspective. They all have my cell phone with the purpose and the intent for them to reach out to me specifically so they don't have to go to multiple places. So we do a fair amount over here. We did have a pretty significant kind of restructuring event. Thanks for the Batman call out. And so with that, we actually have pretty much a lot of new leadership at the executive level. So our ELT, new CEO, new CFO, new CTO, new CMO. And so big changes over here. And I'll tell you, I've been with the company for about 3.5 years. It's leading to some awesome things. So like I said, been here for 3.5 years, kind of we're seeing where things were going and changes we needed to make. And I'm excited to say that that ELT is really understanding where we had opportunities for growth, and we're putting efforts and resources into those opportunities to ensure that we're providing value to the MLS, to the associations, to the franchises, brokers, and agents. And you'll probably hear us talking from that perspective a little bit more. I think it's really important that we notify and work with the audiences that our targets are, right? So whether it's an MLS or an association, it could be two different talk tracks, whether it's a MLS or an agent. The value that we bring is different based off the scenario. And so you're probably going to see a little bit more of that. But when we had this kind of event take place a few months back, I took a step back and I looked at how do we support the audience that we have and provide value. I caught the last little tail bit of, keep our eye on Zillow. Absolutely fair. I think, it's one of those things where we've been aware and the changes that are coming, I don't think they're too surprising to everybody, right? At the same time, I think one of the key things that we need to talk about is how do we differ? And so when things kind of went a little sideways with COVID, or when things went a lot of ways sideways with COVID and some massive changes and pain that we went through, where my usual interaction would be with you in person presenting, right? Everything moved to 3Ds, open houses, all virtual. Everything is significantly changed. One of the things that we did was we took a step back and looked at how do we get across our value proposition to the MLSs and to the associations. And it's a very kind of unique thing. My opportunity, I traveled previously about 150 to 175 days out of the year, flying to different MLSs, different associations, speaking in front of state associations of a couple hundred to more, and then smaller, right? And so that audience, I started playing a game. And one of the things I like to ask was, do me a favor and raise your hand if you think that your member dues pays for Realtor.com. I was in a room of about 300 and half the audience raised their hand. The answer is you don't pay, let's be clear. But I knew that we had an issue right then and there, and it's been 22, 25 years that that hasn't been the case, but there's still that kind of misunderstanding. And so I spent a Saturday, to my wife's frustration, and kind of did about 8 hours of research. I really wanted to understand the history of NAR, the history of Realtor.com, the history of real estate. Like, I knew high level, but I wanted the details. So I spent a Saturday working on this idea. And so in the next month, we will be launching a webinar series titled Apples to Oranges, Not Apples to Apples. And the idea is, how do we differ from the other portals? Because we have a very unique relationship with NAR, because we do license the Realtor domain from NAR, and we pay a significant amount of money every year to do that. We also provide different member benefits and values. We have a person whose job really solely is to interact with NAR on a regular basis. We speak with them prior to any product launches, feature launches, make sure they understand what's coming, get their thoughts on it before we roll it out to market. And so we have a very unique relationship with them, where when you look at the other portals, do you think that they have that same type of relationship? And obviously the answer is no, right? So there is some special relationship that we haven't really done an awesome job, I think, of explaining. And so when I took this time, I wanted to think about, how do we actually get that across? And so this webinar that we're going to be launching in the next month is really focused around, who's Realtor.com? Why does that matter to you? Why does that at all? Why do you care? What's our relationship to NAR? How do we differ from the other portals? And what are the things that we offer to you that you may not know that we offer? So the free member benefits that we probably could have done a better job of sharing with you, we're going to do that. And so it's a two-part series. The second part is actually going to go into, what are those free things, the tools, the branding, the online presence, the free SEO traffic that we do. There's all these different things that you probably just don't know about. And so we've taken this time to build out this story so that you guys can holistically understand that there is a interesting relationship. And if you want to think about it, I'm just going to toy with the idea for a second. There's big R and little r. We're little r. We are a shared brand, and we have a shared value proposition that we need to do a better job telling that story. And so you're going to see that story coming out more and more. I'm quite proud of what the team's put together. I think it's really going to kind of hone in on that. Short term, though, I want to share with you guys about something that we created over the last 2 years. It came out of me joining the company, honestly, and being really frustrated. So I know this is being recorded, so hopefully I don't get in too much trouble for saying this. But when I joined the company, I was given like 12, and I'm making this up, 12 to 15 different URLs for different components of value propositions for Realtor.com that you, the MLS, you, the association, broker, agent, would have to remember to go to get the different content that's relevant to you, right? It seemed really discombobulated. And if I couldn't remember that and I work for the company, how do we expect you to do that? Now, the site itself is incredibly robust, and there's a ton of information. But I think what happens is we blend that information from the consumer experience to the agent, to the broker, to the franchise, to the MLS, to the association. It's all kind of intermingled, and it makes it really challenging to know, where do you go to? And if you're a large MLS, you probably have resources and you have staff to help you. At the same time, they're always looking for value to bring to the members, and how do they pick and choose that content, that information. If you're a smaller MLS or association, you may have 8 different hats that you wear, and you're a single person doing all these different things. And so the point was, how do we get a central location for you guys to get content and things that are relevant to you? And so there's 2 sites that I am going to share with you to just jot down. For those of you at kind of the MLS association executive level, there's a website called Content Corner, and it's actually industry.realtor.com/CCVIP. On this site, you will actually find everything you can possibly want from an MLS perspective in supporting you and your members, meaning we have all of the new information coming out on all our new features and products. It has our training for your staff and for your members. It has all of our digital flyers. I will absolutely put it in the chat. Great idea. It has everything you can possibly need, whether it's logos or banner art or things like that, or ways for us to support you. It's in one spot, so you don't have to go looking. Now, at the same time, as soon as I launched it, I went out and talked to a whole bunch of my friends in the industry, and I said, so what do you think? Oh, I love it. It's great, Mike. It's awesome. It's so good. Are you using it? No. But I love knowing it's there. And I said, okay, how do I get you to use it, right? And the response was awesome. Can I just forward it out to my members? I said, okay, so what you actually need is the lighter version. So there is another one. There's another site that I created that is specifically meant for agents, where the information is really targeted to what you care about. And that one is industry.realtor.com/ccpro. I will put that also in the URL here in a second once I'm done rambling. But in there, you're going to find, once again, all of our information, our COVID resources, the new Realtor.com Pro app, the free content and things we have, our TV commercials that you can take the commercials and put them onto your website. All those things are in a single location. There's a ton more stuff going on. I'm short on time because I don't want to be that guy who goes above and beyond what I'm supposed to. But what I will share with you is our numbers are doing this, or this, depending on which, yeah, this way, up and to the right. And so we've seen a 20% growth year after year. We are currently around, I want to say 8.5 minutes for time spent on our site. Our next closest competitor is about 6 minutes, and they're about a 14% growth. So the numbers, the data is all going the right direction. What I wanted to get on today is share with you that we do have some really exciting things coming out. Stay tuned to the content corner, and we're updating there. And then additionally, the one final thing that I'll mention, the problem with a URL like Content Corner and Pro is it relies on somebody emailing an audience and that open rate being higher than 10% or 15%, right? It's on a Monday, it's a Tuesday, you got different things going, you don't pay attention. One of the things that we're offering is for it to be either hosted on an association site or within an MLS dashboard with a widget that automatically allows the members to actually have access to this information. It's a free thing. We're adding it pretty much to most MLSs and associations at this point. So if there's interest, let's talk more about it. But I want to make sure that you understand we have this great content and data that we're trying to get out to you guys. With that, I'm at about 12 minutes, and I heard I had 10 to 15. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to put the content in the chat, and I'll leave it there. Dominic?
That was great. Thank you so much, Michael. And yeah, let's
Absolutely.
look in the chat, and the link will be there very soon. We'll definitely want that. And so with this,
Awesome.
Now we are going to introduce Bob Morse from Black Knight, the developers of Paragon. So welcome, Bob. Let's come on, and we are very excited to have you.
I'm muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Bob.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Sorry, I was doing something else. I didn't realize I was up.
Oh, it's all good. You got the stage now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bridge MLS, for allowing me to participate in the tech event. We, on behalf of Black Knight, we really, really appreciate it. And what I am going to present to all of you today is our new mobile application, which we call Paragon Connect.
Okay, so let's see. So we have another grand prize. This is the cool prize, the grand prize of the day, the last raffle. We have selected to win. This person is going to get a Ring indoor and outdoor video camera. It's a 2-piece, and we have selected Dick Coleman. Are you still on the call, Dick Coleman? Let's see if he's still here. Hopefully he's still here. Oh, well, looks like he has logged off. So we are going to go with the next person. Okay, so it looks like our next person is Delisa Porsche. Delisa Porsche, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yay. I spoke it into
Congratulations.
existence. I said,
How are
call
you
me, call
enjoying?
me.
Are you enjoying the seminar? How are you enjoying Tech Connect so far?
I'm enjoying it. I missed the sales meeting to be here.
Great, great. So yeah, if you can just hang back for a little while and
Sure.
I can get your information.
Yes.
And yeah, so I'll get you an email and you can send it to me. We have an option. I'm not sure if this was mentioned earlier, just for an FYI for anyone who's for Heidi and Delisa. If you guys are local or have offices, we can definitely drop them off to your office if you give us a scheduled time. Otherwise, we can also mail it to you just as an option. So keep that in mind. Divina.
Hi, I'm going to pop in real quick. I'm going to pop in.
You know how funny you are.
And while we're waiting for Bob to come back, I'm going to give a gift. And I don't know if we can pull some extra names here. I'm going to give actually 2 things away. I am going to actually have you pull 2 names for me, and we're going to give away 2 copies of The Color of Law.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And actually, I'm going to do that. So since we talked about The Color of Law, let's go ahead and pick 2 names for that. And from Bridge MLS, we'll pick 2 names and we'll do a drawing right now for that. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel or whatever you do and pick 2 names of attendees right now and give away 2 copies.
Okay, so we have Ross Goodman. Ross Goodman.
Is he here?
Oh, looks like he went away as soon as I said
No. Oh.
Oh, you're here. Okay.
Congratulations. So Ross, we will send you a copy of The Color of Law. Do you have that book yet?
Nope.
It's a great book. All right, well, we will send you a copy. And we're still, I don't think Bob's here yet. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel and pull another winner.
Okay, let's see. How about Gail Langston?
Ooh, Gail, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Congratulations. See, it pays to stay on this event, even though our speaker is not here yet, and we're trying to get it out. So congratulations. We'll send you a copy.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's a fabulous book. I'm in the process of reading it myself, and I hope you enjoy it. So congratulations.
I will. I had written the name down, was going to go out and buy it this afternoon. So there you go. Thank you.
Good. Well, there you go. We will place the order with Amazon. And so we'll have our staff, actually what we'll do is we'll have our staff contact you and verify your address, and then we'll ship it out to you directly from Amazon. So congratulations to our 2 winners. I see Bob Morris is back, so I am going to sign myself off. Congratulations. And thank you for letting me pop in, Lynn, and surprise you guys with a little gift.
Showing your face. Lovely, Divina.
And we have released on your system what's available now. Again, it's a new mobile application, which we call Paragon Connect. And this is really, really unique, so that when you log into Paragon, there's going to be another option available to you. It's one of those blocks, and it's called Paragon Connect. And you just tap on that. So for example, if you're coming in on your smartphone, I highly recommend that you give it a try and just tap on Paragon Connect, and then it's going to log you in, and everything is going to perfectly render. If you're using a smartphone, it's going to perfectly render on the smartphone. If you're using a tablet, it's going to perfectly render on the tablet. So it is completely mobile optimized based on the mobile device that you're using. And what's really, really unique about it is when you come into it, right on the dashboard, right front and center, it's going to present all of your most active buyers and sellers that are taking advantage of the collaboration center that you set up on their behalf when you do that in Paragon. So you can instantly see your most active buyers and sellers, and you can see everything that they've recently done, such as which properties have they marked as favorites, which properties have they rejected, any notes or comments that they have sent you, you have instant access to them right on the dashboard. If you go into the seller tab, for every listing that you've associated to a seller in Paragon, you'd be able to see all of the listing activity and everything that's occurred. And in about a month or two by the end of this year, you'll also have the ability to do a complete edit of any and all of your listings. So again, the dashboard really, the benefit of the approach is that you can really see what your clients are doing and you're in tune with them every step of the way. Right at the very top, when you sign in, there is what we call a power search, where you can put in MLS numbers and street addresses and things of that nature, and you can quickly get to listings. It's very similar to the power search that we have in Paragon. And then the way the listings are laid out, we have different sections. And again, it's all mobile optimized for your device, but we have a general information section, agent office section. One to really bring your attention to is we've integrated public records right inside of Paragon Connect. So you'll see a public records tab right there. It's one of the sections or one of the containers, if you will. You tap on that and it's going to give you all of the characteristics of the property, who the owner is, recent sales, mortgages, and things of that nature. So that's all built into it, as well as there's a section which will give you the AVMs on the property. So just the way the listings are laid out, it's really very, very, very easy to navigate. And then anytime you're on a listing, you can text it, you can email it, and you also have access to your third-party applications that you commonly access in Paragon, such as CRS, as well as other third parties that you have. When you go to the menu, what we've implemented today.
Bob, I can actually share my screen with the desktop version of this. Would you like me to do that?
Sure.
As you're going along here?
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Okay. All right, can you see my screen?
Let me click over. I do see it. Yep.
All right, great. I will follow your cues. Absolutely.
I appreciate it. And Dominic is using a laptop or a desktop.
Yes.
And the cool thing about the technology is it will really render based upon the device that you're using. So again, I was using the analogy of, okay, if I come in with a smartphone, it's going to perfectly render for the smartphone. If you're on a desktop, it's going to take advantage of that real estate and present more information because it's a desktop. Now, thank you for going to the menu. If you look over on the left-hand side, this is the menu that we currently have. And please keep in mind that we're going to continue to add more and more functionality to this. I mentioned the ability to edit any field on a listing that's going to be coming by the end of this year. But if you could just click on location search. Location search is something that you're going to always use when you're on the go, because it currently defaults to current location. And as we all know, it's very common that you want to get the listings that are near you based on your location. But in this example, because I'm across the bay, I'm not in Berkeley, I'm not in Oakland. If you wouldn't mind, Dominic, can you click on custom address? And just type in 2927 Garber, G-A-R-B-E-R. That would be a G.
Sorry.
No problem. G-A-R-B-E-R.
Oh, let's start over. Sorry.
Yeah. There it is.
One
right
more
there.
time.
You can see it right there. It's the top selection.
Garber.
Yeah. And
And
then go ahead
search.
and tell it to search. Yeah. So here is a property. Actually, it's a listing in Berkeley. And what it's going to do is it's going to go there. So you can actually do any address that you want. And as he scrolls out, it's going to start presenting the listings that are close to that property. That's good. There you go. And so you can see all the listings. So you can leverage it in a variety of different ways. If you wouldn't mind, Dominic, go ahead and scroll in. And right where that right where that red dot is, continue to go in. Oh, you clicked on the listing itself,
Yeah.
which is okay. We'll take them through, and I was just explaining everything to all of you. So this is how the listing is laid out on desktop. It consists of all the photos and map. There's property information. You can see all the tabs along the top. Now, when you're on your phone, you're going to have like containers that are going to go horizontal. But you can see how everything is laid out. There's property information, history. I talked about public records. And if you click on that, it's going to give you, we have integrated public records, and we have things such as the propensity to sell score, estimated equity. And this is Black Knight content that we've integrated into not only Paragon, but we've also done it with Paragon Connect. If you could go back, go ahead and click on the red X. Okay, scroll in. Another feature I'd like to point your attention to is we have the parcel lines there. If you could click on the parcel to the left of the listing, right? And you can tap on any parcel, you can click on any parcel, and you have the ability to view the property. If you do that, that's going to bring up the public record information, and it's going to give you the Google Street View. And then there's public record. So again, that's all in there, based no matter what device you're using. And if you could go back, you notice that there's a little link, a button over on the left. It says Watch Property. Right? This allows you to track properties. You can do this today in Paragon. You can also do it in Paragon Connect. And what happens behind the scenes is that property actually goes into consider it to be a cart, where you're tracking all of these various properties, and then you're automatically notified of anything that occurs. It could be a change in ownership. It could be a change in valuation. It goes on the MLS. There was an ARM reset. So all of these different alert types, if anything occurs, anything triggers, you're instantly alerted of that. So there's the ability to watch properties as well. Okay, I appreciate that. And let's go ahead and scroll back out. Yeah, let's get some more listings on the screen. Yeah, let me go ahead and minimize this. Okay, see the little finger button in the upper right? Anytime you're working on the map, you have the ability to just click or tap on that finger, then you can draw whatever shape that you want. So if you want to hone in on a specific, what happened there? Go ahead and click on the trash can to delete the shape, and it should bring back the listings. Okay, try it again. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, so I just want to point out that there's the feature to do map shapes with your fingers, and then from there you can see where it says Map View in the upper left-hand portion of the screen. You can change the view, and there's a grid view, there's a thumbnail view. Go ahead and pick one.
Oops, accidentally clicked the listing right after.
Yeah.
So this will be the grid view.
Yep. And it obviously it presents it differently on the phone because it knows that you're accessing Paragon Connect with the phone. But notice how you can just go from click on the location tab. There's a lot of cool ways you can utilize this. And let's go ahead and go back. Go ahead and click on the criteria tab. I'll come back to this, but you can add any combination of criteria while you're doing this as well. So you can go from map back to criteria. If you want to find out the ones that are 4+ bedrooms, it's real easy to do that. All right, let's go back up to the menu, if you don't mind. And let's go to property search. This is really important to understand this, is because everything that's represented in terms of property classes in Paragon Connect, it's identical to what your setup is in Paragon. Go ahead and click on residential. And when you bring up the residential search screen, the layout of all the fields and where they're located and where they're positioned, it's identical to what you're accustomed to in Paragon. So that means once you know one, you know the other. And let's go ahead and start with, let's go to status. And you can type in AC and you select active. Okay, you'll notice in the upper right-hand side, it gives you that auto count. And I'm sure that you're very accustomed to that in Paragon. Let's go down to city and put in B-E-R-K. Okay, let's go ahead and pick Berkeley. And if you wouldn't mind, Dominic, let's go ahead and scroll down. And you can see all the fields, right? So these are not normalized fields. These are everything that you're accustomed to. Let's go to secondary criteria and let's click on features. Click right in there and type in Bay. That's okay. Go down to views, because I notice you have a lot of feature categories. And I think if you continue to go down, there's views, right? Click on views. And let's say the first one, just click on have, must have a bay view. And let's click on the green checkbox. And you can see the impact on the count. Now it took it down to 16. At the very bottom, I can't really see it on my screen, but you can save the search in Paragon Connect. By the way, when you do that, it instantly saves it in Paragon. If you add a contact in Paragon Connect, it instantly saves it in Paragon. And the same is true when you're online with Paragon. If you save a search to a contact, it is saving everything that you did in Paragon Connect. Let's go ahead and tell it to go.
Like enable the search?
Yeah.
All right.
And again, the grid view is selected. We're really trying to keep this streamlined. We're really trying to keep this simple, yet at the same time, really give you the information you need when you're on the go. Okay, now from here, you can go ahead and check a listing. We'll keep it simple. There's a little box inside the photo, and then up in the upper right-hand side, the first one right there, that anytime you want to select listings, and go ahead and click on it, and you want to send them out to, for example, a friend or a family member, you can email it or you can text it. Okay, in that case, you selected email, and then click on the three dots. This will bring back, third-party integrations that you have in your Paragon system. It will also give you the ability to, if I wanted to get driving directions, that's also a part of it. But, Cloud CMA, these are all of the third parties that you are accustomed to. So that is also integrated into Paragon Connect. So the ability, when you're getting into like detailed level searching, the big thing to understand, well, actually, there are two things to really try to drive home. One is the layout, the property classes, all the fields, they're identical to the layout in Paragon. And then number two is once you have everything the way you want, you just tell it to go. You pick your view. Right now, there's a map view, there is a grid view, and then there is a thumbnail view. So those are the three views. You select the listings you want, text, email, or access to any of the third parties. Go ahead and click on, whoop, that's okay. Go ahead and click on map view. We'll take that down. And then there's on the bottom left-hand side, there is a little map. Yeah, we have different map themes. So if you want to go ahead and toggle that, there's a night theme, there's a silver theme, just different themes. So that, that if you want to pick the one that you want, it will keep it there until you change it back. Okay, let's go quickly back to the menu. And you can see where you can go into Contact Manager. You can add, save contacts. You can set up a collaboration site for any of your contacts. It's really easy to navigate. Back to the menu. Let's go down to tour and open house. Yep.
Yeah, it's just loading, taking a sec.
Thank you, Dominic. You're doing a great job.
Absolutely.
And let's come down. It defaults to open house. Let's put in a ending date range of, let's say, the 31st. And come down. Let's go to Concord. Is there a city? Area, Concord.
Area.
Yeah. And you can just type it in at the top if you want. Bingo. And let's tell it to go. So you can search for tours and open houses, and I think it's just go ahead and you can see the open house date and times right there. And if you can click on one of those date and times, just any one of them, you can see all the different days. And then you have the ability to add it to your calendar. and it's giving you the comments, and then you have the option to join the video conference when that open house occurs. So all of that live stream, open house, and tours that we built into Paragon, all of that is available in Paragon Connect. And you can do hot sheets, you can look up members, you can look up offices. And so again, it's a real handy mobile application when you're out in the field. I think the biggest thing for all of you is it's completely synchronized with Paragon. Again, if you add a search or a contact in the Paragon, it's instantly available in Paragon Connect. And the opposite is true. Again, the ability to edit listings, and it's going to be what we call a full edit, meaning you can edit any field on that on any of your listings. That's coming soon. And then you're going to see as we progress into 2021 that we're going to continue to add more and more functionality to this. But at the same time, we want to keep it streamlined. We want to keep it simple. If you could go back to the home page of, yeah, right there. Perfect. Okay, that would be your brand at the very top left. And it's going to automatically bring in your most active buyers and sellers, because not only can you, obviously you can set up saved searches and associate them to your buyer contacts, but you can associate any of your listings to your seller clients. And then that instantly creates what we call a sell site, which means that your seller clients can see all of the listing activity broken down by real estate agent views, broken down by client views. You get the social media views. There's a graphical representation of what happens when a price change occurs. And Dominic doesn't have them loaded, but you can very easily put in your image, your client images, and it really gives it that modern, techie look and feel to it. So the look and feel, especially when you take advantage of the ability to not only put in your own image, but your client's images, and it's a real good experience. Now, if you go ahead and scroll down just a little bit, right there, any searches that your clients are creating in the Collab Center, it would indicate the number here, and you have access to them, any upcoming tasks, any searches that are expiring. And then at the very bottom, it would indicate the latest and greatest comments. And these are notes that they're sending to you. So you can really have a dialogue going back and forth with your clients. But I know that in the demo that I had all lined up, I had all of the images and everything built into it. But at least we're able to get through this, even though I didn't have the chance to share my screen and then present from my phone. Thank you, Dominic, for at least giving me the ability to give them a preview. Again, go to Paragon like you normally do, and then click or tap on Paragon Connect, and then you're there.
Absolutely.
And based on the circumstances, I'm glad we were able to get something accomplished. I don't know if there's any questions, but I'd be happy to take any and all questions. I'm just looking through this real quick. Not an app in the App Store to access. Oh, okay. I think someone responded to that. Is there any questions I can answer for anyone?
It looks like Jeff Weissman has a question.
Hi, Jeff. Is the question in the chat?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
so
in the
Bob,
chat.
Yeah.
The question says, I find the frequency of getting timed out really annoying. Any way to make the that user definable?
I think you're referring to the timeout period. If I
Yes, the
understand
timeout.
the question correctly, and
Yeah.
it should be identical, Divina, to your timeout on Paragon. I don't know what that's set to, but typically they're set between an hour and a half and 2 hours. And if you're finding that Paragon Connect is actually timing you out sooner than that, then that is something that I will take back to our team and have them troubleshoot that, look into it, and get it corrected.
Okay, Jeff, does that take care of your question? No, I'm getting timed out much more quickly. So we'll look into it, Jeff. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. And we will look into that for you. So thank you. And then David, you had a question. David Gluck, can you show us how to get Paragon Connect from the Paragon login? I think we took care of that, did we not?
Yeah, we did. We answered that question. So
okay. Yeah. All right. So we took care of that, and
yep.
You're
I'm
welcome,
gonna send
Jeff.
The email for any questions, and that we will reply to your questions.
Yeah, that's okay, Jeff. We got your question, so you're good. So you're doing the right thing, Jeff. If you can find how to unmute yourself, I always know how to unmute myself, so there's never a problem with me popping on here and answering those questions. Right, Bob? I am not
That's
a
right.
shy flower here on the wall.
That's what we love about you, Divina.
Right? Exactly. Never shy. Always will pop in. So I'm not seeing any other questions in the Q&A. Let's see. I think we're getting those going here. So Bob, I think we're good here. My staff is really on point on taking care of these questions. So I'm going to. I don't see any more popping up. I think they're good here. So fabulous. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate
I know.
it.
It's because you're such a great presenter, Bob. You got everything. And Dominic was so great to come in here and jump in and show everything. So that really helped.
He was my lifeline.
I know he was. So I'm going to jump off and let my staff take over. So we'll see you again, Bob.
Okay. Good talking to you.
Thank you so much, Bob. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being adjustable.
Yeah, well, in my job, you have to be, and at some point soon down the road, I'd be happy to come over and set up any kind of event, which we would sponsor if we can do that. Because this is just the beginning of a great application that's just going to continue to get better and better, and we're devoting a ton of development resources into this, and it's just going to get better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
So with that, we are going to bring on Gustavo Rodriguez, our COO, for some closing remarks for today. So welcome on, Gustavo.
Thank you, Dominic, and thank you, Bob. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I thank the panelists. Everybody was great. Great feedback on all the topics. I hope that everybody enjoyed as much as I did. For any further questions, please send it to support@bridgemls.com, and we will make sure that we'll respond to all your questions. So tomorrow we have great panelists. We have Elias Estudo and Kenny Trung for eXp Realty, and we have Felicia Maris from Avio Realty. So please feel free to stop. We're gonna start at 1 o'clock, and we also have a guest speaker, Greg Robertson. He will be talking about a great project that he just recently finished, which is a book that he wrote. It's called The Art of the CMA. And so he's going to be talking about the art of the CMA in his book. He's an expert on the topic. He's the founder of Cloud CMA and Cloud Suites, as most of you have used Cloud CMA. So please join us tomorrow. We're going to start at 1 o'clock. We will be more than happy to have you. Thank you very much for coming, everyone, and have a nice rest of the evening. And this is where we say goodbye. Thanks.